Hey! Come on, it's the anointing. Hallelujah. Come on, it's the anointing. Can you feel the anointing? It destroys the yoke. Come on. Come on, there's a shift right now. If you lift your hands, come on, just lift your hands where you are. The anointing comes to destroy what the enemy has built. Come on, you need to go in right now. I call the name of Jesus on what the enemy has tried to build. I call the name of Jesus on what the enemy has tried to build. And we tear down every stronghold in the name of Jesus. It's the name of Jesus. Come on, ask the Lord to ignite you. Ignite your fire. Some of you have been going through, you need this. You need the name of Jesus on your situation. Hallelujah. Come on, you need the name of Jesus. Say that name, Jesus. There's something about that name, Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Come on. There is healing in the name. Somebody needs healing this morning. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We don't move from this point because the Lord just shifted. He just shifted some things. Come on, I need you to push in the spirit. Come on, just push in the spirit. Just begin to push those things out of the way. Every stumbling block in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If I had some worshipers that just willing to worship, hallelujah. Come on, you got to worship above your situation. Come on, reach for that place in God. Come on, you need Him now more than ever. Like never before. Like never before. We need you. We need you. We need you. Like never before. We need you. We need you. We need you. Come on, like never before. We need you. Come on. We need you. Come on. We need you. Like never before. We need you. Come on. We need you. Come on. We need. Say we need you. We need you. We need you. Say we need you. 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 Like never before. Like never before. We need you. Come on, reach out. We need you. All right. Come on, just lift those hands where you are. Some of you can't take the hardness of this, but when you're going through and you know that nobody can bring you out but God. Nobody can bring you out but God. Nobody can come out of this situation with you like God can. Oh God. Come on, you can just whisper that if that's too harsh for you. Like never before. We need you. We need you. We need you. Like never before. We need you. Come on, say it again. We need you. Just keep saying that like never before. Like never before. Like never before. Because the enemy has launched his attack. Standing in faith, hallelujah. I'm standing in faith, believing God still. How many of you standing in faith, believing God? Somebody say, Lord, I believe. Come on, tell the Lord you believe. I believe, I believe, I believe you'll bring me out. 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 Hallelujah. You can go through be burned. No, you won't be burned. Said you won't be burned. You can go through the fire. You won't be burned. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. You can go through the fire. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. You can go through the fire. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. And you won't go through the fire one last time. You can go through the fire. And you won't be burned. Said you won't be burned.
And you won't be burned.
And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned.
Say you won't be burned.
And you won't be burned.
You can go through the fire.
And you won't be burned.
Say you won't be burned.
Say you won't be burned.
You can go through the fire.
And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned.
Can you feel it? The presence of the Holy Ghost. The living, breathing, articulating God who will send a fresh rain in the middle of your silence to encourage you that no matter where you are, no matter what you've been going through, no matter the difficulty of your tests or the trouble that's in front of you, that God is greater and He is on your side and He is more than the world that could be against you. So you can go through the fire and you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. You won't be burned. You can go through the fire. You won't be burned.
You can go through the fire. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. And you won't be burned. You can go through the fire. And you won't be
Let me
burned.
see the hands of those who've been in some situations that felt like they were fiery storms in your life. And God came in and made a way for you. The writer says that when the enemy comes in like a flood, when you're going through fiery situations, it's because the enemy has come in like a flood. But then the Bible says, when the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against it. And then there's a common position that you can change it. It says that when the enemy comes in, common, like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against it. Because God will overcome the enemy. Anybody believe that God will? God will. God will. Yes, He'll overcome the enemy. He will bombard the gates of hell to bring you out. He will declare your victory even when you're looking like demise is in your forefront. You can go through the fire. I hear you. And you won't be. So I'm trying to figure out what you're laughing. I was in the hospital room not too long ago, and we were there with them Downs, and we talked about singing before we would go into prayer. And my great niece, my wonderful great friend, she's not my great niece in that sense. I mean great, she's a great person. See, I'm hearing that too. Hallelujah. And she kind of spoke in words. She said, you know, Pastor be thinking he can sing. I I disguised my worship as singing. And so I wasn't offended, I'm good. Hallelujah. I just thank God. Amen. For God moving in the midst of every doubt his life. Amen. So many of the prayer requests that we have had, that we see God answering those prayer requests. We see God making ways in the prayer requests. And it is the reality of the song that we sing that you can go through the fire. Hallelujah. And you'll come out unsinged, unburned. Hallelujah. And for the greater note, I'm so glad I got worshipers, folk who can help me go ahead on when I'm ready to exhaust my knees. Sister Jackie picks up that mic and you can go through the fire. Hallelujah. I am surrounded by such great people. I am so thankful, amen, just to be amongst the righteous, the people of God, amongst people who are sincerely worshipers and who love the people of God and who love the leadership of this ministry. So we are thankful for what God has done. Somebody say amen. Grab your neighbor by your hand as you stand to your feet as we prepare to go into prayer and into the word of the Lord this morning. This morning I'm given the assignment to talk to you on the theme, get ready for greater. Get ready for greater. Father, in the name of Jesus, miraculously, you have squeezed your anointing and your presence in between four walls of water. You have stepped in a way that undoubtedly and assuredly we know that you're here. You have already elevated the name of Jesus and have sent us into a relentless praise. And that our minds simply resonates the voices of angels singing before a throne of your glory. God, you have filled the house so that yokes are being destroyed even while we're praying. Ways are being made even while we're standing. Demons are being rebuked by the word that has not even fully been spoken yet. And we as your people are preparing. We are getting ready for greater. Good God from Zion. In the middle of a drought, we're preparing for something bigger and better. In the middle of a calamitous situation, we're expecting the miraculous move of your spirit to reach out your hand and just simply move in a way, God, that will cause things to come into being that did not exist. There is a sense of expectation. And so now we ask that you move by the winds of the Spirit. Cause our minds and our spirit to hear and our eyes to conceive on a level that is not natural. Engage us into the supernatural venue so that though we have clay hands and clay feet, we will tread upon and walk upon the soil of the kingdom and deliver a word that declares greater is coming. Wherever there is doubt, eliminate and eradicate it. Wherever there is fear, disassemble it in the presence of your people. Wherever there is panic and exhaustion, God, do it in the name of Jesus. Rebuke it. Because you who began the work is faithful to finish it. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Seated in the presence of God. Tell your neighbor, greater is coming. This morning's message is found inside of the Old Testament book of Zechariah. Zechariah is one of the 12 minor prophets who was given the assignment to talk to the people of God and begin to declare to them a word that they needed in the time of their storm. Yeah. He is of a priestly descent, and in fact, the very name Zechariah means Jehovah remembers. All right. He is a contemporary of Haggai, and he is a very interesting point concerning who he is that Zechariah, unlike some of the other contemporaries of his time, he was born in Babylon. Now we get that. He was born in captivity. Many other prophets like Daniel, they were born in Jerusalem. They were born free, but then taken captive by other nations into the places of Babylon and into places of captivity. But Zechariah was born in captivity. He was born in the place of bondage, and he writes from the place of bondage to the place of freedom to the Palestinians and tell them about a freedom that he is expecting for them and he himself to experience not many days longer. It is amazing that you can be in captivity and still be free. Come on. When the devil tells you that you cannot be free because of the external circumstances of your situation, you need to remind him, but I'm not the only one who has been in bondage but still was free. Because you can change my body, but you cannot change my spirit or my soul. You cannot stop me from having faith and hope in God just because my finances are not running the way they should. But I can still give God praise even in the middle of a bad situation. I can still give God glory and give God honor and expect God to show up even when nothing looks like God is going to move at all. Zechariah begins to, in the book of Zechariah, he has 10 visions. And one writer and theologian says to us, and this could be undoubtedly true, it's just a hard situation to experience and conceive, that one person can have so many visions in one night. But one historical writer says that Zechariah had 10 visions in one night. Began to say that the cause and the reason for Zechariah nodding off is because his body could not stand the magnitude of such spiritual explosion that was happening inside of him, because the body cannot contain that much of the spirit. And so every so often Zechariah just nodded off, and you hear the writer says that he nudged me, or he awakened me as a man who was awakened out of sleep. It's because God was downloading so much inside of him, and the flesh was not able to contain and to handle so much information. How do you know that sometimes you can't handle what God's trying to tell you? Zechariah gives 10 visions, and his visions span across over thousands of years. In fact, they span from his present day situation all the way into the book of Revelation, and begin to share to us some things that John the Revelator begins to talk to us in the book of Revelation. This writer begins to share with us issues and concerning situations and tell us stuff here that we don't even know that's coming to pass. And he writes from the present day into the future, and he brings us into the environment that what he's writing to us, what he's writing in his day, is also equivalent and sufficient to us for today. The first vision is in chapter number 1. Now you've got to track with me for just a little bit here, because to make this picture clear, I've got to go through 3 chapters, and I'll do it expeditiously, so don't y'all get nervous. But I wanted you to understand the clear picture of what Zechariah is saying, so that when we get to chapter number 4, hopefully it makes a whole lot of clear sense. Somebody say that. And so the first vision that he sees is in chapter 1, and it carries him into a valley that's filled with myrtle trees. And in the valley, he sees he sees a myrtle tree But in the middle of that, he gives a clarification later on that the conversation that he is eavesdropping on is a conversation where the angels of God are speaking with the Lord of hosts, and they come to a point where they ask the question, like many of us here ask the question, how long? Have you ever asked the question, how long? Verse number 12 says, the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou have no mercy on Jerusalem and on the city of Judah, against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years? In other words, it's been 70 years since Israel, the people of God, has seen the merciful hand of God at work. How long are you going to allow them to go through the difficult stuff that they're going through? How long are you going to allow them to be food for the enemy? How long are you going to allow them to have the trouble working in their life the way it's troubling? And it's a question that many of you ask yourself, the same question here today. It is equivalent and it is sufficient for our own situation. If you ever ask the Lord, how long? Just shout it right now, how long? How long is a question that we ask that sometimes we get answers to and oftentimes we don't get the answer to. How long, God, are you going to allow me to experience this situation that I've been experiencing? And how long before you show up? And even then, sometimes in the back of our mind, it is, are you going to show up?
All right.
Because I've been in this situation for so long, God. Are you going to answer, God? Are you going to make a way? I've been in this sickness for a while now, God. Are you really the Jehovah Jireh, the Jehovah Tsidkenu, the Jehovah Raha? Are you really the God that the scriptures tell us you are? Are you really the balm that's in Gilead that's able to heal sin sick soul? Are you really able, God, to do what you said you could do? It's not that I really doubt you, but the problem is I've been in this for so long that I have a difficult time trying to reconcile my situation with my faith. How long? Chapter 2 opens with a man walking the streets of Jerusalem who has a measuring tape in his hand. And he is measuring the length and the breadth and the width of the city. He is as one who is taking preparation for a major reconstruction project. He is one who is, as he's plotting and doing his surveying, he is gathering the specs and making notations as to where the utility services run throughout the city. He's wondering and identifying where the gas lines are, where the power lines are, where the sewer system is. It is vital for the vision because the enemy has raided the city and literally destroyed the city. They have stripped the fields and they have set things on fire. They have put fear in the hearts of the people and stripped them of their work and stripped them of their faith and stripped them of their belief and then put them in a position where they were slaves and servants. And here comes a man walking through the streets with a tape measure, plotting, designing, articulating some things here in front of a people who have been berated by the people who have made them feel less than themselves, who have spoke evil against them and made them feel like their God was useless and incapable of doing anything different in their life, who began to talk against their God and to talk against their faith. But how do you understand that just by the mere fact that the man is walking with a tape measure suggests to you that God has a different plan? Y'all didn't hear me. That your city can be destroyed and your house can be messed up, your mind can be jacked up, but God has a better plan. That you might not be able to see how this is going to work for your good, but God does have a better plan. That even though it looks like chaos is working and peace is not working, God has a better plan for your future. And God is preparing even now, even in the midst of troubled situation, to bring you out so that you will have a great sense of pride and reassurance, so that your mind that was going through all these kind of hysterias and issues here will be at peace with God. Turn to God has a better plan. So chapter 2 opens up with one man in the measuring line. He is the indication that things are about to change. Things are about to get better. Things are about to improve. Say things are getting better. I didn't ask you what you see. I asked you what I want you to say. What you want to see. Things are about to change. Things are getting better. He opens up with a measuring stick, but he closes with the words of instruction. Verse number 10, he says, "Sing and rejoice, O daughters of Zion. For lo, I am come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord." It has been a long time since you really felt the shaking of God's presence and felt the anointing of God's move and seen the hand of God. But God wants me to come by here and tell you in this verse here that while you're mourning, I want you to change your mourning for singing. And while you're sad, I want you to exchange your sadness for rejoicing. And while you feel like maybe that God has forgot about you, the name Zechariah, God remembers. And God wants me to tell you that He still remembers you. And remember what He promised you. Remember what He said to you. And He's going to do something in your situation. And all He wants you and I to do this morning is sing and rejoice, O ye daughters of Zion. For lo, I have come, and I will dwell in the midst of you. The devil is a liar that told you God won't come and see about you. God will not only come and see about you, but He's going to dwell in your midst. Otherwise, God is saying, I'm going to walk with you down the next pathway. I'm going to walk with you down the next journey. I'm going to walk with you down the road. I'm going to walk with you in the pathway. I'm going to walk you through this situation until you see what my means is really about and what my strength is really about. I'm going to show you some great things that you can't even imagine because I'm going to walk with you. Amen. Somebody say amen. Amen. Now, I like verse number 10, but I like verse number 8 and 9 a little bit better. Here's what 8 and 9 says in the King James Version. I want y'all to read it for me.
For thus saith the Lord of hosts, out of the glory hath He sent me unto the nations to restore you, for He hath touched you, touched the apple of His eye.
He says He sent me to the nations and to the people who will support you. And I want you to know, no matter how you feeling right now, that when they touch you, it's like touching the apple of my eye. In other words, God said, when they get in your face, it's as if they're getting in my face. And when they touch you, it's like them putting their finger in my eye. And God said, I ain't taking that. Don't worry, I will avenge you is what God is really saying. I will take care of your enemies. Read.
I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and ye shall know that the Lord of hosts has sent me.
Yeah, somebody give God some praise. Let me read it to you out of the New Living Translation. After a period of glory, the Lord of heaven's armies sent me against the nation who plundered you. And He said, anyone who harmed you harms my most precious possession. I will raise my fist to crush them, and their own slaves will plunder them. Then you will know that the Lord of heaven's armies has sent me. After a period of the Lord's glory, of the Lord's army, He says, I'm going to come and I'm going to raise my fist to crush them. You got to get ready to watch your enemies just get destroyed. You need to get ready to watch the thing that's been up in your face so big and so tough and so hard and for so long that's trying to convince you anything other than what God has said. It's getting ready to crush. It's about to fall. Tell me it's about to fall. I just want to tell somebody here, it's about to go down up in here. Everything that the devil has come up against you, it's about to go down up in here. For all of the stuff that you've been through, I told the Lord, I said, God, it looked like we've been in a period of pressure. We've been up under scrutiny, and we've been up under a time where it looked like that our prayers have not been answered, things are not happening, and it looked like, God, not only is it happening to one, but it's happening in the body of Christ that we've been up under attack. And God said, I want you to hear this. Anyone who harms you, anything that comes up against you is coming up against me, and I will crush it. Y'all hear me? God said, I'm going to crush it. I'll raise my fist and crush it, and then I'll use their own slaves to plunder them. You need to just pause on that for a moment and think about the goodness of the Lord. Think about the stuff that you've been going through. Think about the issues that you've been experiencing for the last 4 or maybe 6 weeks or maybe the last 6 months. You need to think about it. There's a song that says that it seemed like we've been in a season of winters. In other words, there was no summer, there was no spring, it was just winter. That the 4 seasons have been 4 seasons of winter. Winter after winter after winter after winter. But I want you to hear me and hear me very clearly. That God is saying that no matter matter what you lost in the middle of your time of winter, no matter how long it's been in your season of winter, I'm going to restore everything that the cankerworm and the palmer worm and the camel, everything that's going against you, God said, I'm going to handle it. If you got something you need God to handle, just say, crush it, Jesus.
Crush it, Jesus.
Oh, good God Almighty. Crush it. Crush it. Crush it. Walk through the hospital room. Crush it. Walk through the banks. Crush it. Walk on my job. Crush it. Walk in my house and in my home and in my spirit. Crush it, Jesus. Crush it. Crush it. Crush it. So that they might know that the Lord of heaven's armies has sent a word in the middle of your situation. Chapter 3 opens with a conversation that takes place in heaven. It's really a conversation that deals with the assurance of our own salvation. It talks about the power of Christ. I know Old Testament, yes, but it's talking about the power of Christ, New Testament. It's talking about the power of Christ to completely forgive our sins and cleanse us of our own iniquities. It says that I saw Joshua the high priest standing before him, and later verses it says that he was standing in tattered and dirty rags. But the salvation that God has given is clear enough and free enough that it doesn't matter that you stand in dirty rags. He changes your garments and puts you on a garment that's white and clean. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you did. No matter how often you did it. God said, when I take the dirt and the filth and the iniquities away from you, when I cleanse you up, you are clean.
Yeah.
And I don't negotiate who I clean.
Come on, man.
It doesn't matter that you can tell me about the whole history about who they are and where they've been. When I speak life to them, they live. When I speak cleansing to them, they are cleansed. When I say they are forgiven, they are forgiven.
Hallelujah.
It really deals with our assurance of our salvation. And it becomes proof positive that God does not leave us in an incomplete or an unforgiven situation, so that whenever we have repented of a situation and asked God's mercy to be in place of our life, in place of judgment, that God says, if you have repented, I give you mercy.
Hallelujah.
Some of y'all look like y'all ain't need no mercy, but y'all ain't telling me the truth. Some of y'all act like y'all have never messed up, blew nothing, did it. But some of y'all know the truth better than we do know the truth. And y'all know good and well you need mercy.
Amen.
And some of y'all still sitting here all pious. He's talking to you. No, I'm talking to you, baby girl. Because you need mercy just like I need mercy. And the writer says that morning by no morning new mercies we see. Why would you say such a thing? Because every single morning, every single morning of my life, I need mercy. Hallelujah. And I need it early because I might mess up late. All right, hallelujah. So here is the picture of the high priest standing before God. And for that matter, it does not necessarily have to be the high priest. It could be you or I or any other believer who's standing in the presence of God in the posture of prayer, believing that God will answer us when we pray. Because the Bible teaches us that God hears the prayers. The Revelation says to us that God bottles up all of our tears. The saints' prayers when they're going through intense and immersed in great levels of pressure, and they begin to cry out before God, that God bottles up all of their tears and reserves it for a later day, that He's going to pour out victory upon the demonic realm, and it's going to be because of the cries of the saints of God. That God said, I'm not going to unleash my power. I'm going to unleash the authority that's connected with the tears of the people of God who prayed, and God said, I'll beat you with their prayers. I'll destroy your works of darkness with the prayers of the people. Take that. This Sunday's lesson in Sunday school deals with the calling of Moses. Early in the conversation, God said that I have heard the cries of my people. And therefore I have left my throne in glory in order to come down and to deliver them. James tells us that the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous. Anybody ever quote that scripture? The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous, it does what? It availeth much. Sometimes I wondered why, God, would you write the scripture that say the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. Why can you simply say that the prayers of the righteous availeth much?
Come on, preacher.
But James says it is the heartfelt and persistent prayers that avail. It is the earnest and the intense prayers that prevail. It is the passionate and the consistent prayers that prevail. It is the effectual, fervent, passionate, heartfelt, earnest, intense, and passionate, consistent prayers of the righteous that avail much. Why would he say that? It's because verse number 2, I don't know if I put that slide in here. I didn't, so you have to trust me what it says. Verse number 2 of this 3rd chapter, it says that, in fact, I want you to get somebody get it. I want y'all to see it. I'm sorry, I should have get it in here. Verse number 1, verse number 2, verse number 1. Come on, real quick. Somebody, real quick. Y'all forget me. But I want you to see it for yourself. Who has it? All right, read. Sister Pat.
Then the angel shouted, Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord.
Wait. Let me commentate. Then the angel shouted as Joshua was the high priest standing before the Lord of hosts, right?
Yes.
Read.
The accuser, Satan, was there at
So why James said the reason that the effectual fervent prayers of the righteous avail much is because the accuser was standing right next to Joshua, who was standing right next in heaven. And then as he was making his petition and saying his prayer, that the devil is saying, you ain't got no right to be here. And so the reason why it takes the effectual, fervent prayer of the righteous, the persistent and consistent prayers of the righteous, the passionate and strong, intense prayers of the righteous, because the devil is standing right there saying, no, God, no. You can't listen to him. You can't hear him. He was standing right there to accuse him of everything he was saying. And so tell your neighbor, so if you're going to get the victory, you got to increase your prayer life. Tell them if you're going to get this victory, you're going to have to get earnest and intense. You're going to need a little passion when you pray. And you won't get it just because you prayed on Monday. You're going to have to pray Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And it doesn't mean that God didn't hear you, because he heard you from day one, Daniel. But the enemy, the prince of Persia, was there to withstand your prayers. So you got to keep on praying until you break through the spiritual realm and get the demonic stuff that's on your tracks off your tracks, and get the prayer that's coming from the heights of the heaven. It's got to travel all the way down from the heights of heaven into the earth realm. Because we don't live in heaven, we live on earth. And so I need what heaven has on the earth. So as it is in heaven, so shall it be on the earth. And that's a whole lot of ground for the devil to mess with. Who is the prince of the power of the air, by the way. Moving on. Chapter 4. Now we come, and I'm almost done. Let's see, 12:46. We'll be good by 1 o'clock. Chapter 4 of our text this morning comes really as a word of encouragement. Anybody being encouraged so far? Have I done a good job? Have I done my job well to bring you to chapters 1, 2, and 3?
Yes,
Chapter 4 is a word of encouragement. It comes to inspire and to reassure the people who have been under great stress, who've been under great strain, who have experienced intense pressure. And it comes to address the shackles that have so often been associated with people who have lost their hope and feel helpless. I don't know, have you ever lost your hope? Have you ever felt helpless? It comes to address the folk who have been connected with something that God said, I didn't order that. The scripture says that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He says that these weapons may be formed and they may come, but they didn't come because of me or of me. I didn't order that. Wow. And therefore the reason why no weapon formed against you shall prosper is because though it comes, God said, I'll deal with it, I'll handle it, I will address it, but you sometimes experience it. Sometimes you get the blunt of the blow. And it knocks the wind out of you. But it was designed to kill you. And so anything that only knocks the wind out of you, when it was designed to kill you, didn't work against you. Just got to make some things in play, because I know how we are. Anything that was designed to kill you, to murder you, to assassinate you, to take you out, that only knocks you down, but you're able to get back up, does not work against you. Because anything that doesn't kill you, that you can get up from, makes you stronger. Because now my testimony is greater. I can still tell them, but God, if it had not been for you, I've now experienced you in another way, God. Hallelujah. Because it's the goodness of the Lord that keeps them from killing. Y'all should have been dead long ago. All the stuff you've been through, all the weapons that the enemy has launched up against you, all the demonic forces that have come against you, and you're still here, it's because God's grace and God's mercy kept you. So this chapter comes to encourage us, and it comes to strengthen us, it comes to let us know that the best is yet to come. Tell your neighbor, better days are coming. So don't be weary in well-doing, because your situation is about to change. There's a breakthrough getting ready to happen. You are about to enter into a new season. You're getting ready for greater. I just need you to hear me. Greater is coming. It's on its way. It's already been ordered by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It's already, the prescription has already been written, and the pharmacy has already filled it. It's already packed in the bag. All you got to do is stand up and say, hey, give them your name, and they'll give you your prescription. It's already done. God is saying, I want you to look again at what you've been going through. But this time I want you to look through the eyes of faith, not through the eyes of flesh. This time I want you to look through the eyes of vision, but not through the eyes of your body. And I want you to look at it at sight, because we walk not by sight. I don't want you to look at it for what you see it to be. I want you to look at it for what you think it could be. I need you to look at it a little bit differently. I need you to see for what it should be, not what it is. Come on, y'all with me. I need you to see what it could be, not what it is right now. I want you to see what it shall be, not what it was. I want you to look at it with the vision of faith, because while you're looking at it, I'm going to alter it in front of you. While you're looking at it, I'm going to change it in front of you. While you're looking at it, I'm going to do a work in front of you. While you're looking at it, but I need you to see it, because I want you to understand the reality of what I'm getting ready to do. I want you to look at it for what it is, but know that who I am, and I'm greater than what it is. And so what it is what it is. Don't work here. I need you to see it for what it will be. Look at your neighbor and say, look differently, look differently, look differently. Don't look at it through the eyes of defeat. Look through it at the vision of victory. Yeah. He says, I want you to use your eyesight, because sight is a function of the natural body. Sight is a function of your eyes. Vision is a function of your heart.
That's good.
I need you to look at it through the spiritual place of your heart. That trust God to do what He said He's going to do.
Hallelujah.
So we walk into the hospital rooms, and I see my brother is laying there. He's got all kind of stuff that's going on. And he's got all kind of issues here, and I see black marks, and I see places where blood is not flowing, and I hear the depths in it. And I said to him as I lean over his bed, I asked him a question. I said, do you still believe? I said, if you fight, we'll fight. If we fight, you fight. The condition here is if you fight, I'm going to fight. And if you don't fight, I'm going to fight. So if I'm going to fight, you're going to have to fight. In other words, you got no choice in the matter. A fight is already ensuing. A war is already began. A victory is already coming. And I don't care what I see with my eyes. I don't care what the doctor's report says. I don't care about your charts. And I don't care about your stick. I don't care about your testing, your diagnosis. I already see what God is going to do, because it's not a natural battle. It's a spiritual battle. And I see victory. I don't care what you see. And in the middle of what my eyes see, I see God moving. 119th Psalm. And I went to 119th Psalm. I said, you might get tired of hearing me talk. But it's the longest very book in the Bible. Most verses is 176 verses. And I'm instructed by the king to read every single one of them. And I'm going to tell you what God says. And every time you get tired, you just go ahead and nod and turn your head. But I'm not going to stop till I'm done. Because the word of the Lord is a sure word. The word of the Lord have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against it. That word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my pathway. That word, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, is by taking heed to the word of the Lord. That word is my refuge, my fortress, my shield. The word will not come back the hand of the enemy. The word of the Lord is nigh thee, even in thy mouth. The word says victory when my body says defeat. The word. And I'm foolish enough to believe what God says, the word. Psalms 27, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I fear? When the enemies and my foes came upon me in the flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, one thing I desire of the Lord, that shall I seek after, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord, to behold the beauty of the Lord, to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me. Hallelujah. To the time he shall lift me up, and then shall I set my head above my enemies round about me. Why? Because 1,091 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it will not come nigh thy dwelling. 37. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut off, and wither as the green grass. What am I telling you? The word wins. He says, bring the word. In the hospital room, bring the word. You are a keeper of the word. Bring the word. Don't bring your machetes. Don't bring your bullets and guns. Bring the word. Don't bring your doubt. Don't bring your consciousness. Don't bring your natural. Don't bring your understanding. Don't bring your education. Don't bring what the book knowledge says. Bring the word. Because there are some things you can't do without the word of God. There are some places you can't go without the word of God. There are some victories will only be won by the word of God. You look at me and say, you're quiet and pray, you're tired, quiet, doing certain things here. I had to look around. I need to know who's in the room with me. I'm already fighting love demons. I'm already fighting love devil. I'm not going to expose my hand to everybody, because everybody can't see and can't understand. And while I got to fight, I'm not going to fight you and no. So I'm going to let you go. So I'm leaning real close, whispering. I've got his whole bed covered. I'm just down in his ear. Ain't nobody here but me and Jesus and him. Because I ain't going to fight you while I'm trying to fight them too. He says, bring. Walk in faith and an intense position of prayer. And trust what you can't see. Because in the middle of it, I'm going to change it. Now, I don't have time to take you through the 4th chapter. I didn't even put the slides up there. I got the verses here. So let me give it to you. He says, and the angel that talked with me came again and wakened me as a man that's wakened out of sleep. And he said unto me, what seest thou? I said, I have looked and behold a candlestick all of gold, and a bowl upon the top of it, and it has 7 lamps thereof, and 7 pipes of 7 lamps which are upon thereof, and 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked to me, saying, what are these things, my Lord? And the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, knowest thou not what these things be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then I answered and spake unto them, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel. Before I give you the word, he said, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel. But wait a minute, what did you see? And in the place where there was the drought, in the place where there was famine, in the place where there was destruction, in the place where there was demise, in the place where you look back and you're like, oh wow, God, look at all the destruction where we've been. He said, I want you to look at it again. In the midst of the places that he didn't see anything before, he said there's olive trees that grew up. 2 olive trees grew up. And in between the 2 olive trees, there was a candlestick that appeared out of nowhere. And the candlestick had 7 pillars, had 7 tiers. And then the 7 tiers of the candlestick was somehow connected to the olive trees, because the olive trees that grew up had a branch that extended out of one and another branch that extended out of the other, and both branches connected to the center of the olive tree, so that the oil that the candlestick needed was getting oil straight from the olive trees. So that the candlesticks, which burn off oil, oil in the scripture represents the Spirit of God. The candlesticks represent the light of God. And the candlesticks represents the job that the priests were to do. Y'all remember? Y'all remember, don't you? That it was the priest's job to make sure that the light in the tabernacle never went out. So it was their job to watch the level of oil, so that if the level of oil ever went down, their job was to make sure they carried oil to fill the candelabras with oil. All right. You remember Matthew chapter number 25, the 10 virgins who was wise, and the 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The 5 came with oil, and the Bible says that they had oil to spare. But the 5 foolish only had enough oil that was in their lap. So when the king came, when the bridegroom came, it said that they cried out saying, "We have no more oil. We're not prepared to meet the bridegroom because we didn't carry enough oil." And so the Bible calls them foolish. Can I go back to the text now? So the job of the priest was to make sure that the light in the temple remained burning at all times. And their job was to keep enough oil. Ooh, God. See, can I talk to intercessors for a moment? Can I talk to ministers for a moment? Your job is to always have enough oil to handle the situations that come up. See, we need you to stay on your face because you don't know what's coming up. And you got to be at any given minute's notice. You got to be the minute man. When we call and say we need to go to war, you got to stand up and say, "I'm ready." Because I already have my oil with me. Priest's job is to make sure that the oil continued to flow, that the light of the candle never went out. And God says, "I raised up 2 olive branches, 2 olive trees, and I placed an olive tree on either side of the candles." That the priest's job is to make sure that the oil stayed flowing. But not only that, then I took 2 branches and extended the branch from the tree on either side. And I told the branches of the tree connect to the center of the candlestick from both sides, one from the left and one from the right. And as soon as a drop of oil is exhausted, pour in more than enough. Supply it with more than what it have need of. As soon as they exhaust, as soon as they use up 1 ounce of olive oil, 1 ounce of the anointing oil, 1 ounce of it, supply them with more than enough so that there's never an issue or a challenge or a situation that they'll ever be without. Oh, I'm preaching right now. Now, why is that significant? Because this is the word to Zerubbabel. The word is saying, can I come down?
Come on. Help us.
It is because he's saying to Zerubbabel, it looked like you didn't have what you needed today. This is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel. It looked like you were going through a moment where God didn't supply your every need. It looked like you were going through a moment where God didn't answer your prayer fast enough. It looked like you were going through a moment where you're under extreme pressure and scrutiny and didn't know where your help comes from. And it looked like you feel like you're going through a time right now and you're wondering whether or not God is going to answer. You're wondering whether or not God is here, or you wonder whether or not God is listening. And he says, the word of the Lord is that while you're still praying, I've already sent an answer. While you're still going through, I'm already blessing in abundance. While you still have issues going on and using a little portion of your oil, that I'm going to bless you with a download greater than what you lost. Because this is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel. And what is he saying? This is the word of the Lord to to the people of God. What is he saying? This is the word of the Lord to the saints of the Most High. This is the word of the Lord to the folk who have intense prayer, who've been up under great scrutiny, under great pressure, who've been under the affliction of the enemy, who the devil thought he's got his thumb on you. This is the word of the Lord to the folk who are saying, God, I felt like a weeble wobble. I keep going this way and that way. But God is saying, but every time you weeble and you wobble, you don't fall down. Every time the weapons of the warfare are coming up against you and the enemy is trying to kill you and destroy you, it's as if God has put a protective shield over you so that you might get a blow, but it didn't kill you. He said, this is the word to you. Next neighbor said, this is your word.
This your word. This your word. This your word. It's your word. It's my word.
It's not by might.
Come on now. Come on, say it. Come on, say it, Pastor.
Here is your word. It's not by might, not by powers. God said, I'm going to do a work, and it ain't going to be by the natural means of your might, nor by the carnal means of your power. I'm going to do a work, and it ain't going to have no connection to anything that you can look back and say, this is what I did. I'm going to do a work, and I'm going to tell the devil, you can't touch this one because this ain't got the arm of flesh nowhere in it. You can't lie on it, you can't talk about it, you can't say anything but, oh, God, Jesus. God wants me to tell you he's getting ready to move on your behalf in a way, but not only in a way, in the way of the stuff that you've been going through. Hallelujah. He's going to move in such a spectacular way that before you even get done praying, he's going to have already sent the answer. That the thing that was staring you in the face before, it doesn't matter how long it stared you in the face. God is going to stare it down and crush it. God is saying, I'm getting ready to put my foot. Anybody got faith this morning? I need somebody to just jump on their feet this morning. And if you got faith, I want you to lift your foot. And I want you to just crush in the name of Jesus. What are you crushing? I'm telling sickness. In the name of Jesus. I'm telling poverty. In the name of Jesus. I'm telling insecurities. In the name of Jesus. I'm telling low self-esteem. In the name of Jesus. You can't help me anymore. You gotta let me go. Hallelujah. I'm telling all the issues and the struggle and the challenges, all my stuff. Crush it. In the name of Jesus. Wait. I got one more sign and I'm done. One more sign. So whatever foot you use to crush, I want you to put that foot back in line. Now I want you to take the next foot. And I want you to go to another Old Testament scripture passage. And it says, wherever the soles of your foot should tread, you get displayed in the name of Jesus. I need somebody to start walking out of your seat and out of your pew and start claiming this. And I'm walking on this thing. I'm getting ready to walk on some water right about now. I'm getting ready to walk into victory right about now. I'm getting ready to walk into my overflow right now. I'm getting ready to walk into my greater right about now. Hallelujah, because my greater is coming. I'm getting ready to have a greater level of anointing and a greater level of power and a greater level of strength. I'm getting ready to have greater levels of finances. And not only those are finances on one level, but God said to give you 4 streams of income. This will start flowing in from the north, the south, the east, and the west. What are you doing? I'm claiming what's mine. The devil thought he had it, but it's mine. I'm walking into a victory. I'm walking into my new season. I'm claiming my possessions for the Lord. What are you doing? I'm walking in it. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in victory. I'm walking in overflow. I'm walking in because greater is coming. Tell your neighbor, greater is coming. What do you mean? Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither have it entered into the hearts of men. The good things that God has in store for them who walk right before them. I don't care where it's been. I don't care how long it's been. I'm preparing to walk in my new season. And not only am I going to walk in it, but I got news for the devil. It's a generational blessing. I got news for the devil. I'm going to walk in and my seed going to follow. See, I'm walking in stuff right now. Not for me, because I really may not even need it. But I got grandchildren coming down the road. I know. I do. Down the road. But I got grandkids coming. And I'm taking care of the devil on September the 22nd, 2019. I'm fighting the devil right now because in 2026, I got a grandkid baby coming. I'm warring today. Because I'm going to go through the stuff so that when my kid comes behind me, he ain't got to fight some stuff. See, I ain't selfish like some folks. I don't mind doing the war. I was raised up on the wrong side of the tracks and I had to fight all my life. I'm used to fighting. So the fighting don't bother me. But I'll fight so you ain't got to fight. Yeah. Some of the fights, some of the wars, some of the struggles, some of the things you're going through now, it's not for you. But you fight so your kids ain't got to go through some stuff. Now, I don't know how you believe, but I believe that they shouldn't have to go through the same stuff I went through. Hallelujah. The Bible said we ought to leave open inheritance for our kids and our kids' kids. Well, why? Because they shouldn't have to go through this. I'm going to do that anyway. If you leaving nothing, you shame on you. Hallelujah. You ought to leave something. I know they act like the devil, but they your devils. They don't joke or something. Say amen. So they ain't got to fight all the fights you fought. Hallelujah. And you might not want to leave it for them, but you want to do it for your grandkids. Because y'all know, they tell me when you get grandkids, y'all start acting really crazy and funny. Y'all. And parents be like, and the kids be like, you ain't never treated me like that. All of a sudden you get this grandchild and you start losing your mind. You just baby them and cuddle them and talk about, if I would have did that, you would have smacked me upside my head. Then you go, now you just think it's cute. You didn't think it was cute when I did it, but that's a grandchild. Hey, all right. Then you get to go home. Hallelujah. Whatever the reason is, it still holds true. Greater. Don't you leave here without understanding greater is coming. Don't you leave here without believing that greater is coming. Greater is coming. The reason why you had to fight all the stuff you had to fight, and the reason why you walked the floor as many nights as you walked the floor in these last 6 months, and the reason why the devil can attack you the way he's attacked you is because the devil saw ahead of you and he saw greater. And he wasn't fighting you for your present day, he was fighting you for your future.